Mama Kwande was in our house, and for some of us in FYNI, I posted a picture about 3 or 4 weeks ago where I had the privilege of hosting 3 generations of nurses in my house. Mama Kwande came with her glamour, very old, but still very sharp. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I must really commend these people you mentioned who have contributed 1 or 2 things to your career path, and I'm saying thank you to them for grooming an icon like you, who is contributing so much to nursing profession. Thank you so much, sir. All right, so I'll be directing this question to Mr. Israel Akinade. So what is your view on the issue of Nigerian nurses seeking greener pastures abroad?
Well, thank you for that question. I would rather say that I'm not surprised. I myself, at one point in time, oh, by the way, before I answer that question, I just want to mention, based on what Professor Dejimo did say about mentorship, there is a way how divine connections happens, because I remember vividly in 2004, 2005, I was Professor Dejimo. We always call him Uncle, yeah. And sometimes still slip my tongue to say Dr. Dejimo. He was my research supervisor, and he was in Canada at that time. And I would send him my project work, and he would reply and say, "Oh, I'm on the fly, I'm this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." But he still take the time to reply, and I really appreciate that time. Thank you. So back to the question about Nigerian nurses seeking greener pasture. I would like to say that I practice in Canada, and when people try to travel out of the country, they are doing that for certain reasons. Either want a better practice, a better satisfaction in their job. They are probably not satisfied with whatever it is in where they're coming from, or they just want to mingle with some other minds. So people travel for different reasons. However, greener pasture is not always greener on the other side until you really get to the other side. So personally for me, I'll say that when I left Nigeria for a certain reasons. I had some significant challenges in Nigeria, and I figured perhaps if I go to Western countries, I might be able to. I wanted more, and I felt that the country couldn't provide me what I wanted. For instance, I wanted extended practice, and what I do mean by that is that I want to be a nurse, but I want to be more than just a nurse. I want to be a nurse that can practice to the full scope. So, and that is something that you see in the Western world. You can be a nurse practitioner, a registered nurse first assistant. You can be an advanced practice nurse. All these opportunities are there outside the country. So people could decide to leave the country for several reasons. However, I would like to say that I was perhaps I had a lot of advantage because of the time when I left the country. I was much younger, so I was able to take up all the challenges that await on the other side. So because when you leave Nigeria as a registered nurse, when you go to a different country, you do not automatically become a registered nurse. You have to think about licensing. You have to think about registration, settling down in that country. So even to that alone might take you about 3 to 5 years. You're gonna have a couple of challenges. Also, even the culture like in Canada, for instance, it's a lot different. And what I mean by culture, for instance, in the work environment, I personally still struggle with that at times, where I want to call my colleagues Dr. So and so. But of course, you call everybody by their first name. You don't even call people by Mr. And then, also the patient population. Yeah, the patient population are different, because this is a population here that asks you questions. You don't just say this is Tylenol or this is paracetamol, take your paracetamol. But you got to give them more than that, because of course they know those things themselves. you need to be able to justify what you're actually trying to do or not. So I would rather say people that are trying to leave the country to overseas countries should try and research the country where they want to go, try to understand the policies that are in place, try to understand the requirements, and of course, of utmost importance as well, try to have somebody that can guide you, like a mentor or a guardian, so that you are not just walking blindly. And because when you walk blindly, you may still get there, but you probably lose a lot of time in getting to where you're going. And of course, we know how important time is. So I hope I've addressed your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much. All right. So there's an interesting question which I believe a lot of our participants are actually interested in knowing. And so this question is for you, Professor Bayo Adejumo. What led to your change in career progression? How did you move from nursing to psychology? I'm sure people want to know that.
I wish the question didn't come. But let me tell you, I want to appreciate Mr. Akinde again for those very wonderful answers. And, I've always learned to respect him because he's also very intelligent and is very, very dexterous. So to the question, why did I now move into peri-op, from peri-op into nursing education, from nursing education into, in fact, I did a little bit of community health, and from there now, talking about psychology. While I was in the School of Nursing, I read a book. It's a textbook of psychiatric nursing by Adeleye. I don't know if any of you read that book. I read that book in 1983.
Yes, sir.
For some of you who had opportunity. I'm still looking for that book because I've missed it. I can buy it for any price. The manner by which that male nurse explained mental health nursing never left my brain. I loved it. So while I was an undergrad, some of the courses that I needed to offer, either as elective or compulsory, included some of those things I thought I had known. So some of those basic introductory topics I took in psychiatric nursing and the posting at Arrow actually helped me a lot. So when we got to Professor Sigen Bakare's class, he was the one who taught us foundational courses in psychology. Although, in School of Nursing also we also take courses in behavioral sciences. I think that's what we called it then. And an integral part of behavioral sciences included psychology, psychological theories. So, but while I now got to the university and they started saying some of these things, I already knew them because I had read the book of Adeleye, psychiatric nursing. So those things weren't too new. So while the regular students who were in class will be hearing that for the first time already had an idea. So it was easy for me to grab some of those issues very quickly. I also had one teacher, Professor Shokan. She was the one who took developmental psychology courses. But because I had already done MCH, maternal and child health, in school, and I also already had clinical experiences here and there, so it wasn't difficult for me to grab issues in the area of developmental psychology. So while I finished, I had some challenges. Let me say this openly. I just felt that it may not play out and it may not work well if I continued in nursing with my wife also still being in nursing. So I thought, but what is it I can do that will be close to my passion? That was initial motivation for going into psychology. But unfortunately for me, while I got into psychology, my first teacher who anchored many of the courses at my, because I also needed to audit 100 to 400 level courses apart from my 700 level courses. But good enough, one of the people anchoring many of those courses was a nurse, is still a nurse, Professor Helen Oshinowo. Started from nursing. So, and before she said something in class, I already knew what she was saying. I had an idea. So it wasn't difficult for me also to fall in line and to fall in love. And I also want you to know, Oshinowo also made an impression in my life. And up till this last weekend, we were still together, even though she retired early in the year. But despite her retirement, we are still very, very close. So while I came into psychology,
it seems there's a break in his network.
Yeah, and I now realize that I can. Am I still audible?
Yes.
Am I audible? Can someone hear? Oh,
yes,
good.
we can hear you.
Yes, sir, we can hear you very clear.
It's only the
We can hear you, sir.
The practicals, we didn't deal with practicals in nursing in terms of patient counseling, patient profiling, patient formulation, diagnosis. We didn't do any of those things in nursing. But it wasn't too difficult for me because gradually I grew into those things and I enjoyed doing it. And of course, I was getting good grades. So that cemented my position in psychology. And from there, I started moving little by little. But of course, again, I could, because I was doing clinical psychology, still bring my peri-op into clinical psychology. For example, my first master's project was on preoperative anxiety and the role of cognitive behavioral therapies in correcting, helping, adjusting, modifying, reducing, perioperative anxiety. And the work was published in, I think, West African Journal of Medicine or something. And that was one of my early publications. So the success I recorded from my clinical psychology experience and the patients I counseled that I also had to take up during my internship, and they recovered, encouraged me to stay in psychology. And from there, little by little, I got my neck deeply rooted in psychology, and it was difficult living. So today, little by little, I did an MSc, did an MPhil, PhD, and in my MSc class, I made a good grade, but I didn't make a proceed grade. So I needed to do an MPhil, PhD. But the MPhil, PhD was rather what helped me more, because that was the time HIV came. So I now switched over from peri-op to HIV, and because there were grants in those days and opportunities were begging, so that's how I launched into HIV. And the HIV was the bump that actually launched me out. So my MPhil, PhD was in the area of HIV. My full doctorate was in the area of sexual risk behavior and HIV. And the work that I did then was what made me to win my first grant. That is the grant of UAPS, Union for African Population Studies. It was really late to that time, maybe $10,000 or something. But that was my first taste of foreign grants. And of course, that same work that I did then, the doctorate was took me to Nairobi, Kenya, to make me to fly for the first time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I grew along the line, joined academics in 2006 and rose gradually. I was already old by the time I joined academics. But God helped me. I never missed my promotion. And as God will have it, I am the current head of department. Some of those who taught me, they are still very much around in the same department.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I was going to ask you that, do you miss nursing? Oh, you are not missing nursing, sir.
Miss nursing for what? I am still a nurse.
Okay.
Even when I returned from Canada, as soon as I landed, I went to peri-op, no doubt, but I was still teaching in the School of Nursing, teaching them ethics in the School of Nursing, apart from my teaching theory of perioperative nursing in a peri-op school and teaching theater management. That candidate is still alive, is there. Okay? And of course, in the Department of Nursing, I also became readily useful because I was teaching right in the Department of Nursing. Till now, I take courses in the Department of Nursing. I am still a nurse. And may I tell you, I'm still a student nurse, a course nurse. Because up to 1.5 weeks ago, I was with the therapeutic course nurses in usage. We held their week together. I was their speaker. I related with them. We enjoyed ourselves practically. I am still a nurse, even though I'm an HOD in psychology.
I'm really glad to hear that, sir. I hope our participants are noting the fact that nursing is a field with many opportunities.
Yeah,
so
sure.
even if there's anyone here who wants to, change their career path, I really want us to know that nursing is a good foundation and you can actually use the knowledge wherever you are. Thank you, sir. All right, so also this question is for Professor. I would like to ask, what was your motivation for establishing FYNI? And also, how do you plan to help young nurses through this initiative?
Well, I had seen that the challenges of a time, they're a little different from the challenges we face in our time as a student nurse. I've told you how you wouldn't need to fast and pray before your monthly allowance will come. I've told you how we were given allowance and all of that. And I felt that these days they would need to pay so much and they may not still get the best out of their passion. And I now feel that nursing has helped me. I am married to a nurse and one of my children is a nurse already at 300 level. So it's my desire that whatever I can do to make life easier, better for them, in terms of my time, in terms of the contacts that I've made globally, in terms of my resources, I am prepared to lay it down to help the coming generation of nurses. Sometime I will get old also. I want you to know it's not the physicians that will take care of me, it's nurses that will take care of me. So whatever I do to empower nurses today is like preparing for my days when I will be weak and will not be able to help myself. But again, I do tell you that nursing is noble. Nothing like nursing except God. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure we all are looking forward to what this initiative is really going to do for us. I'm speaking on behalf of the young nurses out there. We are greatly, we really appreciate your efforts to contribute back to nursing profession. Thank you once again, sir. All right, so this question goes to...
We want to repeat some of those things Professor Mrs. said earlier, because you already talked about the goal and vision of FYNI. That's why I didn't go into those details. And because those slides are still readily available, so that we can save the time for some other things.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. So, Mr. Israel, what do you plan to do to make FYNI vision become a reality? And how do you think this initiative can benefit upcoming nurses?
Oh, thank you. Like I did say earlier, for myself, I had a privilege of being mentored by Professor Adejuma. And of course, I can also list a lot of all the people that have been a role model to my career in nursing. And I think that it's a great opportunity for young nurses to have someone who can mentor them. So I believe that this initiative is going to go a long way. And personally as well, I also think I can probably help younger nurses who can learn from my own experience. And of course, it will inform them in their career path and choices in one way or the other. And secondly, also, if the opportunity comes for me to help them to expand their network, I believe that one way or the other, that would be very advantageous to them. And if resources can be provided to both the initiative and the younger nurses, I will also be willing to help in that capacity. So yeah, so I believe that this initiative is going to be very helpful.
Yes, can we give a round of applause to Mr. Israel? Thank you so much for that. All right, so I'll be going back to Professor Adejumo. What is your advice, sir, to the young nurses out there, especially those considering a change in career path?
Look before you leap. Because what may be behind 7, or what may be behind 6, may be more than 7.
Wow.
If you are not sufficiently convinced, do not move. I concluded a while ago by saying there isn't anything better than nursing. And I'm not just saying anything to flatter any soul. With your nursing, you can get to any level. I have told you I've been at the level of the WHO. Where else do I want to get to? I have taken my nursing to the level of the National Institutes of Health for the United States. I have been at Ontario College of Nursing, that's in Canada, in Ottawa. Tell me something. So I don't know. Nothing is as noble. It's a privilege to be a nurse. Don't let anything take it away from you. Did anybody hear that at all? I teach physicians across the world.
Yes, sir.
So anywhere I get to, I let them know, apart from calling me, a research and clinical bioethicist, apart from calling me a clinical psychologist or developmental psychologist, I tell them that I am also primarily a nurse. Never afraid to say that. Nursing is good because you'll be useful first to yourself. You are useful to your family and you are useful to the larger society. So for those considering a change, maybe you can add something to your nursing, but you cannot drop your nursing.
Thank you, sir. These are really, wise words.
I love that.
Yeah, so in the chat room, can you just tag somebody and say nursing is good? Just tag any random person and say nursing is good.
Nursing is good.
Yeah, so yes, I've seen our responses. That's nice. And I want us to note what he said lastly. He said that even if you are going to, have a change in your career path, you should know that you can't leave nursing. Okay, so I think that's something to take home. Okay, so thank you very much, sir. Thank you once again. And yes, sir. So I'll also be, I think this will be the last question before we move to the questions from the participants. This is for Mr. Israel Akiade. We will also, sir.
Oh,
okay. All right. So we will also want to know what advice you have for young nurses out there.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I would like to say that, like Prof said, nursing is good, nursing is noble, nursing is a great profession. But I would like to say that for younger nurses that are coming into the profession or just starting their career, set your goals. Associate yourself with great people who can challenge you, who can motivate you. Never be satisfied. Ask questions. Feel free to say your mind. I am hoping, and I'm not just hoping, and we are working towards that. In the situation where nurses in Nigeria can rise up for a political action, be able to speak their mind, be able to achieve their dreams while in nursing profession, where you do not have to move to other departments, but you can do what you want to do as a nurse and be proud of being a nurse. And I will just lay it out there that the limit is not there. You can go to any level. As first you stay focused and you do your hard work, take it a day at a time, and in no time you will be there. That's my advice to younger nurses out there. Be in the profession for the right reason.
Thank you, Mr. Israel Akiade. Also, please, I would love us to tag somebody and say, be in the profession for the right reasons. Just tag somebody and let's write that in the chat room. Okay. So now I think we can move into the questions we have from the participants. Some of them have been dropping questions even before the webinar started, so I'd like to start from those questions. I think I should ask Professor Adejumo this question. The question says, what are the distinct qualities a mentor should see in a mentee before choosing such person for mentorship?
Well,
did you get that, sir?
Look at the trajectory of that kind of a person. A blind man cannot lead someone else. So it takes someone that is focused to be able to focus your own goal and to make you have precision in your life choices. What are the other things you look at in someone who should be your mentor? Look at, what's the record of this person? What has he or she achieved in life? What are the written and unwritten stories about this person? What about the character of the person? And what is the driving force behind the life or the philosophy of that kind of a person? These are things that must guide your choice of who can be your mentor. Someone who is himself focused, who has demonstrated that it's good to be focused and is getting the reward for being focused. You look at the results of the trajectory or the pedigree of that kind of a person. Antecedents. Where's the person coming from? Where is the person now? Where is the person going? So that's very, very important. And make sure those things align with your own vision, with your own goal. If you flock with someone whose goal is different from yours, there will be what we call division. And division means division. You'll soon be scattered if you go that route.
Wow. Thank you, sir. Division means division. I really love that. Thank you, sir. All right. So, okay, let me ask Mr. Israel this question. Can someone be successful without a mentor?
I do think that I might have said some things in that regard earlier, that of course somebody can be successful without a mentor, in my own opinion. However, like Prof did say, a blind cannot lead a blind. If you do not have a mentor, you're trying to walk on a journey, you can be successful. However, you do not have a chance of predicting what is likely going to happen. Even though you have a mentor, does not mean that you will still not be faced with those challenges. However, you've been pre-informed. You can be prepared. And of course, when you are not prepared, you are preparing to fail. Yeah. So having a mentor is very, very helpful. However, you can be successful without one, but having one makes your life a lot easier.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Okay. This question should go to Professor Adejumo. All right, so somebody said that in our opinion, it's believed that older generation of nurses joined nursing because of the passion, but younger generation of nurses joined because it's lucrative. So how true is this? What can be done? How true is this and what can be done?
If your primary motivation for coming into nursing is for financial gains, that's too bad, because a time will come when money will not satisfy your passion. Contentment is something that should drive your goal. Whether you are rich, whether you are poor, once there is happiness, you can still get to the peak of your goal. And no matter the challenges that come your way, once you have the intrinsic drive within you, that is where I'm going, no matter the obstacles, that drive, that passion within you that is not rested on mundane things will revive the spirit of coping in you and grant you the ability to summon challenges to be able to get across your river, River Jordan.
All right, thank you, sir. So I know we have noted that our passion should not be based on mundane things. Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, so we have another question here. Okay, this question is particularly for Mr. Israel. What is your opinion on the latest trend of nurses? I think we have talked about this, but perhaps you have something else to add to it. What is your opinion on the latest trend of nurses leaving the country to practice in diaspora, leaving Nigeria to face brain drain? Did you get the question?
Yes. Like I said earlier, I think it's rather unfortunate that like a lot of us had to leave Nigeria to practice overseas for us to have the satisfaction that we probably crave for. And like Prof did mention, I was actually going to say, if we are to say, like your question earlier to Prof was that younger nurses, they say younger nurses are coming to the profession for money and older nurses coming to the profession for the passion. I'd rather say, like Prof did mention, when it was in school, there was stipends. So I would rather actually probably put the question the other way around. Anyways, I do think that the condition in Nigeria, for instance, or a lot of other developing countries, I hope that things will get better because like in Canada, for instance, I enjoy my practice not only because of the fact that I'm well remunerated for what I do, but also that I can leave Canada and go to the United States. I can leave Canada and go to the United Kingdom and do not feel that difference in that practice because technology-wise, it's the same. The culture, the respect that I get for being a nurse, I feel appreciated. So
I guess that the connectivity from Mr. Akinadi's side is a little low. I don't know whether that happens to every other person.
Yes, Hello? It's the same from my end, sir.
Okay, so let's quickly maybe pick a few things before it comes back on here.
All right. So, okay, I have another question here.
Since it's back.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, like I did say that, I think for a lot of reasons, there are a lot of reasons why people leave the country, and one of it would be job satisfaction. And I hope that in Nigeria also we continue to move towards achieving that. And I would also like to mention it out there that in my practice in Canada, for instance, within the clinical area, I see my colleagues who are masters and PhD holders that are doing bedside nursing, and which is something that I did not see when I was in Nigeria. As soon as you're a master or a PhD holder, you basically go into education. And like I said, in Canada, for instance, where I practice, the opportunities are just out there for you to take. So, but if anybody decides that is the path that they want to take, I'll take from Prof's word that what is behind 6 is more than 7. So try and look before you embark on that journey and be convinced that is what the call is for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Israel Akinadi. There's a question from the chat room, and I would like Professor Adejimo to talk about this. And I think this person needs to be motivated. I mean, the question is, what is your advice for someone about giving up nursing? So perhaps you have something to tell that person, sir.
Number one, we need to explore that a little more because as a psychologist, when someone feels like quitting, there may be seen and unseen, variables that are at play. Maybe independent, maybe joint, but with that kind of coinage or use of words, it appears that whether independent, whether jointly, want to explore, if that person can private chat me so that we can dig a little more, so that we can get to the root of the matter. But be that as it may, for the benefit of all and sundry, every one of us, if one feels like quitting, you need to find out the intrinsic and extrinsic variables or factors that are at play that's making one to think that way. For as long as one desires to quit and you have a genuine reason to quit, that's when 2 or 3 others can say, well, for ABCs and Z reasons, it's agreed you can quit. If one gets to that point, maybe it may be reasonable. But when you cannot find, 1 or 2 other like minds agreeing with you, then there's something Daniel and Sabin called accountability for reasonableness. It's a Canadian concept. For the decision that you are making, when you tell or share with people in the public, would it sound logical? Any decision that you are making that is not revisable, would that still stand the test of time? Any decision that you cannot readily publicize, I'm only using the theory of FOR, accountability for reasonableness, to answer that. But apart from that, I know there could be other circumstances that may make one to feel like. But many times, situations that want to box one into a corner, if one puts up a different attitude to cope, chances are you may still knock out that situation that terrified you. We have seen very many times where boxers were almost at the brink of being knocked out, but maybe saved by a bell, will still come back to life, take some fresh breath, and still knock out the opposition. So, who knows? Some of those stressors and circumstances that are, making you to think of quitting, you may still overcome them if you have proper counsel and guidance. So that's why I want this person to, if possible, let's chat privately. You may think there is no more way or escape routes, but others may tell you these are things you can still do to get over this hurdle and you still be fine.
All right. Thank you, sir. Please, I would like that person to try to reach out to the admins of FYNI, and then he or she will be directed to the professor for personal mentorship. Thank you so much. All right, so I apologize for this. Our time is fast spent, so all other questions will be attended to after this meeting on our WhatsApp platform. Okay, so I'll just be giving 2 people an opportunity to talk. I can see 2 ends up. So I'll allow fellow Nurses Africa to go first, after which Noah Esther will also be able to talk. All right, so go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity given unto me. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mr. Oluwa Tosin Kende. I'm the chairman, board of director, Fellow Nurses Africa, currently in the United Kingdom, working as a nurse. I want to specially appreciate Professor Mrs. Adejumo for this wonderful initiative, focusing on young nurses initiative. When I saw this, the event flyer on the social media, I was so, excited. I was so happy because for a very long time, there has been this gap between the young and the old nurses. The mentorship gap is actually missing, and I'm really happy and I'm grateful for them coming on board to launch this initiative to bridge this gap in particular. I remember some times ago, we tried to invite Professor Mrs. Adejumo to one of our webinars, but unfortunately, we were unable to get her on board. I believe that we will still keep trying, and one of these days, we ensure that she comes on board to our webinar to speak to, the younger generation of nurses. So my contribution would be about the career progression in the nursing profession. There's no point you as a nurse going into nursing or going into health education, going into psychology or any other field if there is a proper career progression for nursing and nurses in Nigeria. Take, for instance, a young nurse who graduated from university, one of the departments of nursing sciences, maybe UI now, and then you want to, diversify into other field of nursing. Perhaps you are interested in going to perioperative nursing. You will have to go back to, school of post-basic nursing before you can specialize in that area. Or perhaps you have the intention of going into anesthesia. You will have to go back to school of post-basic anesthesia before you can go into those things are actually discouraging. So if these things are put in place whereby you can do this at a postgraduate level, there's no point moving. So I'm so glad that this initiative is coming from our leaders that are currently in the academia, and they are perhaps at the decision making of in the nursing profession. So I think this is one of those things they should be helping the younger generation of nurses to look into, in collaboration with Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. If these courses can be brought from post-basic level to postgraduate levels, so it will afford these nurses the opportunities to do these courses at the postgraduate level rather than going back to school of post-basic nursing to do these courses. So that's going to be my little contribution. Once again, I want to appreciate you for launching this initiative, and I pray that the Lord will continue to uphold you and keep you for us in Jesus' name. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much for that contribution. It has been duly noted. Thank you very much. Okay, so do we still have Noah? Okay, so if Noah is not available, okay, so we have the privilege of having Mr. Olumide in our midst, who is actually Professor Priska and Professor Priska and Bayo Adejumo's son. So we would like him to give us one or two speeches. It's good to have you around, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for this successful meeting. And my name is Ulu. It's a good thing to see a number of eager and promising people, and from the experience that I have with Daddy and Mommy, and
thanks for this. Find our tourists.
Can we please unmute Mr. Olumide?
I'm unmuted right now. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you can.
So I want to appreciate everyone once again and give all praise and glory to God because He's faithful. I have a question also for Daddy and Mommy and other people. I know how much you have invested and you are ready to take up for the other people and younger nurses to be better, and for the profession also to soar higher and higher than it is. I am seeing questions and reading different reactions from people in the chats and thereabout. I have a question of how do we also find a means of getting other senior and trustworthy colleagues to be able to, I'm looking at the ratio of mentorship per person, because if we want to do the mentorship, it has to be, followed up through a point, as you have done with me, that you'll be able to say that, oh yes, I've taken you to a point where you can stand on your own and others will follow suit too. So what would be the ratio, or how do we go about encouraging not only younger people? I know the initiative is for younger people, but then those who can also have positive influence on the other younger ones, to encourage them to do better and be better than you are in nursing into this program. The second question is, yes, we're all nurses, and some of us are not, but we are by, how do we also bring those who are not nursing, like Daddy is bringing the experiences from other professions into it, and see how nursing is superb and good. How do we see what IT you can do that makes it in your nursing profession to be better, some other professions, so that it will be interdisciplinary? Those are the questions. Once again, I want to say thank you to everyone. God bless.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oludide. I think Professor Bayo is saying something, but he's muted.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate you, Lumide. We also appreciate the over 100 participants at this webinar too. I've seen quite a number of my classmates around 161 now, 161 now. People like Tunrayo Fagbula Gomoba, people like CK, many of them, my classmates. Thank you for supporting me. I appreciate every one of you. Now let's go to Olu's question. I believe in multidisciplinary approach to issues. You're not good, but if you add some flavors into your nursing, it makes it more spicy and more attractive. And wherever challenges are coming from, you have a little bit of what other professionals have, so that nobody can just wake up from one corner of their bed and bamboozle you. Okay? Many of the things physicians will say, to a little extent, I can quantify and prophesy about some of the things they will say. So because I have a little bit of that. But he brought in two questions. Number one, how do we ensure that people that are, anyway, IT is one thing. And I always say that for almost everyone, whether you are a nurse, whether you are a nurse trained or not, if you are not IT compliant, you are just a time waster. If you are the best of a nurse and you still don't have your roots in IT, very soon you will crash out. So IT is the name of the game in the emerging scenario. It's the game changer. Whether you are in the operating room, because very soon we are going to artificial intelligence. We're going to robotics, just emotional intelligence. So for you to become relevant, you need to latch on some of these emerging fields to be able to concretize your position in nursing. Okay, for younger nurses, I believe that we may need to recraft nursing curriculum to be able to get the best out of the present nurses we are producing. And until we are able to do that, like the question that was asked earlier on, where you need to finish a degree and go back to a personal basis, these are still educational day. In psychology, there's something we call foot in the door. In foot in the door technique, you start little by little until you win your game. So we have started little by little, and fine enough, we have the support of people that are the apex of nursing in Nigeria and in many parts of the world. So when we keep going like this, little by little, we are likely going to arrive at our destinations. And I think you want to say something? Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. It's so encouraging and so fantastic that we're staying up to this time. I never expected that we're going to stay as long as this. And this is just to say how wonderful all of us are. I want to say that it's very important for us to know what is going on around us. The Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, I'm glad the registrar was in with us. It started with us and it was in for quite a long time before. I don't know whether he's in now or not. But he arranged for all the various programs that you mentioned, some of which you mentioned tonight, and some others. to actually move into the universities at postgraduate level. And there was a meeting of which I was a member. We had that meeting looking at the curriculum. How can we move all these programs out of, where they are right now? And so that meeting has been concluded. The report has been written. There are a lot of activities have gone into it. It's still with Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. And I'm sure in due course, we'll be able to get that. So I wanted to say, just to let you know that, yes, Nursing and Midwifery Council, the registrar was here, and it can bear me witness that it has been taken on and activities are ongoing. Report has been submitted to the board and all of that concerning moving these various diploma programs into postgraduate diploma level or degree straight, according to the capacity of the institutions, the manpower that they have to be able to, service such. So that's ongoing. Concerning the question that Olu asked about getting other people to support, I don't want to say, because it's really, we are out there in the world, in the whole world, a little amount of seed money, which Professor Adejumo gave to us to use for this is about $5,000. And yesterday, let me tell you, when we sat back and we're looking at all that has gone into it, he told me we need to increase that to $6,000. And $6,000 is just a little amount of money. We can't do anything. So that's just a seed for us to make sure that, when we get together, we put all our programs together, we can have something ready to fly with. And let's see how that goes. And then we decide. At last meeting, we talked about, okay, we don't want to spend this $6,000 and they start looking for money. So this is what we have brought as a family to start off as a seed money. Let's look for others who are going to, help, and we'll be able to do that, like you have asked that question. So I hope I've been able to answer your question. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma. I saw somebody's, okay, it says he has done, okay, I can see him now. I'm so sorry, we'll be taking just one more person, and it will just be talking to us in less than 1 minute because our time is fast spent. Okay, so I'll be giving Mr. Emmanuel Adedeji a chance to speak to us.
Please, can we take Olani Filade, please, addition? And that will be it.
30 seconds.
Okay.
30 seconds, all right. Okay. So, Mr. Emmanuel, you can go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everybody. And I think it's a real privilege to be part of this program. Professor Adejumo and Professor Mr. Adejumo, like I put this in the chat room, I think just like Akande has mentioned, it was a stroke of luck in 2005 when I was in Therapeutic School UCH Ibadan, and that we were posted to Professor Adejumo, and he happened to be our supervisor. Honestly speaking, I think my group, of course, myself, Akande, and Tosin Oyewole, she's also on the group. She's in that PhD class now. I'm also rounding up my West African College of Nursing program. That's great. It was a life-changing experience. He actually spurs into greatness. Ever since then, we become restless. We realized that we had a lot to put in. He didn't let us. He didn't just spare us. In fact, at that time, we were like, "What's going on?" But honestly speaking, it was until later on that we realized that this man has, he has actually touched something in us. And believe me sincerely, I think the problem nursing profession is facing in Nigeria today is the quality of education that we get. Yeah. I think we do a lot of, I'm sorry to use the word wishy-washy. Let my people go. We try to pamper ourselves. We don't really look at the bigger picture at the end of the day. And that exactly is going to be my contribution and my question. That sir and ma, I also put it in the chat room. The first time
I hope somebody didn't cut him out.
It's still with us.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, I hear you.
Sorry for the break. I was in 2003 then. I was the president. Hello.
Yes.
We can hear you
Go
now.
ahead.
Please go ahead.
Hear you.
I'm not sure he's still with us.
Going back and forth.
Hello. Okay, all right. All right. Okay. So, okay. Sorry. So then we have to invite Prof. Mrs. to present as our guest speaker and our main speaker. And about a few minutes in her office, she said a lot of things that I was like, what? She told me that she has, been to the 7 continents of the world to do presentation. She told me, have I given my life to Christ? I mean, right there and then, we've had a lot of conversation that was so life-changing. I'm like, who is this kind of person? And as a matter of fact, I'm saying this to the generality of everybody on this platform, that we need this level of, delivery. If you really want to be there among the committees of professionals, we cannot do anything less than that and be expecting much. We just have to challenge ourselves to be able to speak in the real world of professionals. It's not a wishy-washy show. Otherwise, we'll just be here deceiving ourselves, thinking that we are there, and we'll be hoping for a greener pasture that does not exist. So I'm going to say this with the passion that this set of people have put in us, that please, can we make it a point of duty that probably, for example, I was speaking that when I was in my anesthesia program, the coordinator then told me that he's a doctor. He's a retired commodore in Navy and a doctor. He said he was already a retired man when I was under his tutelage. He said what he knew now, if he had known then while he finished in medical school in 1982, that he will have saved more life than he has saved. So what that means to me is that, see, the quality of the education that we get at the postgraduate level has to be solidified. Yeah. It has to be patient-centered. Yeah. It has to be patient-centered. And that is my question. That I appreciate the fact that we have, on my platform too, we had something similar like this about 3 weeks ago, that we talked about mentorship. And of course, it was a presentation at the West African College final posting. And we felt that there's need for us to bridge the gap. And that's my conclusion. I'm sorry for wasting your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Adedeji. Okay, so can we have Olaniyi Filati?
30 seconds.
That's nothing council official.
30 seconds, please.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I just want to commend the Professor Priska and Professor Adebayo Adejuma for creating this platform to mentor the younger ones, the upcoming nurses. I just want to add more to what she said based on the question asked on the specialty-driven higher degrees in nursing in Nigeria. I just want to add to what Professor Priska said, that council is actually making effort on that. She made mention of a lot of effort that have been put in place to put the curriculum and a number of things in place. And I want to tell you that council is actually working with NUC at the moment to get that achieved. All that the draft had been submitted to NUC, and effort is being, council is working hand in hand with NUC to see that our masters and postgraduate program will be specialty driven. I did masters in nursing, in medical surgical nursing, but what I was my expectation was not actually met, because when we say medical surgery, I expected to be specialized in a particular area, but that is just by the way anyway. But I just want to tell you that efforts are on to get that achieved. The second area I want to talk about is I want to appreciate Professor Adejuma. When he was talking about a number of people he has mentored to make sure at least and they supervise to get higher degrees in their field, or probably a field of psychology, or maybe they also have nursing background. And we actually want that in nursing. And I want to appeal to the two professors and to also use that their experience and their collaborations we have with other colleagues to see how we can have that in nursing. One of the major challenges we have in nursing today is for the gross shortage of faculty, and that has actually affected the development or the growth of this profession in Nigeria, to ensure that people, nurses across Nigeria, have higher degree in nursing. At the moment, a number of our nurses are running out of the country to South Africa and other places to get PhD. And we have quite a number of people here in Nigeria who can actually mentor us and who can actually help people to have that higher degree. And so I really want them to actually respond to that. And the last question I have for them is that despite all the opportunities and the juicy posts they will have probably gotten outside the country, what has made you to stay back in Nigeria to date? Because from what you have said so far, the two professors, there is no doubt about it that you have enormous opportunities to go abroad to make money, but you're choosing to stay back in Nigeria. The few of us who are the young nurses who are just finishing School of Nursing, university, the next thing you see is to be applying for verification and looking for opportunity to travel abroad. I would really like to share your experience so that some of us, a number of the young nurses who are still here, they will not get discouraged, but they will be motivated and to know what has made you to stay back in this country. Thank you very much.
Well, for me, I just know I've been assured that home is home. Out there, whether in the US, whether in Italy, whether in France, you are a second-class citizen. That's the way I see it. That's for me anyway. And for an Egyptian man that may be a little proud, and you are not better than me, whether you are white, whether you are dark. And we wouldn't have two brains anyway. The same genetic constitution with only slight differences. So that's one motivating factor that will make me to know wherever I am, I distinguish myself and I still come back home. And there's no gainsaying, and it's not a thing of pride. With humility, I say. Even in Canada, I was called bioethics. At the Joint Center for Bioethics, I was called bioethics. But that wouldn't make me stay. I had some experiences 2005, and they asked me to go and move my family over. But I didn't see for that reason even choose to migrate to Canada at that point in time. Well, because I also believe that even if you're in Nigeria, you can still make your mark. You can make your mark even better, and you are of a greater utility in Nigeria than you will be when one is outside. But that doesn't still preclude or cut out the need for you to move out back and forth. And that's one of the reasons opportunities come. I grab some of those opportunities, but I never lobbied or pressed for any. Those opportunities come to me, and I go there, do whatever bit I need to do, and come back. But it may not be so. I'm not saying for as many as will have the opportunity or desire or genuine, concrete reasons for wanting to migrate. I'm not saying it's out of tune. There may be other, outliers out there. When I say outliers, people that have more, stringent and more pressing need to migrate. That may be understandable. But for me, maybe I didn't have that. And I also believe that I can go out there, learn what you are doing, and come back home to sell that to my country. And that's my whole philosophy. That's my desire. I'm fairly utilitarian. In other words, every bit of what I'm doing, I talk about intentions, but I don't base my life, career, and goals and choices on intentions. I base them on consequences. So anything I do, I want to see the extent to which it's going to translate to the greatest good for the greatest number of people. And that's why I'm always home.
Let me just lend a word to say, God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. It's very important to note that for every location, there is an allocation. So don't get carried away. Always ask God. There was a time, much younger, definitely maybe up to 28 years ago or so. I don't know, there was this craze. Everybody just wanted to go. And I heard it loud and clear then. Don't bother, because if you go, it will be ruled. Wherever your name is, that's where it's going to be ruled. So don't bother, I'm just saying that if you pray and you hear God and you hear him loud and clear, it's very easy for you to know which platform to take. Everybody is traveling. Now the door is open. There are so many opportunities with COVID. Many nurses were lost to COVID, and there is a replacement plan. People were in different countries are trying to recruit more nurses and getting people in. But the question is, I will suggest, like Mr. Israel said, there are so many reasons for which people are traveling. Don't just jump out. Pray to God, ask for his will concerning your life. Like me, everything I do, like Mr. Filade asks, I really want to ask God before I take any step, any move, and whatsoever he says to me, like Mary, the mother of Jesus, told the disciples, that's what I do. So if tomorrow he asks me to leave, yes. Yesterday he asked me not to go, no. So I'm here, and I'm glad, I'm happy, and excited to be here. Finally, let me thank Mr. Filade. Nobody talked about a very important aspect of what we had tonight, and I felt it was too late. We cannot be calling the registrar up at this point in time. He told me, no ma, it's not late. Just give him a shout. And just, was it yesterday, or I don't know whether it's yesterday or 2 nights ago. That is to show the kind of mind, I mean, he as a young person has, because he encouraged me. He said, no ma, I don't think it's late, just send him a message. And then also it shows to us the kind of registrar that we have.
And within 2-3 minutes, the registrar saw the text message and he responded instantly.
It's so amazing that, I'll be there. I'm sure he's in Far Maduguri.
Yeah.
And just like Mr. Filade has said, that's exactly how we met it. So I really want to appreciate Mr. Filade. Thank you so much for that nudge and that encouragement. And a big thank you, of course, to the registrar. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much, ma. Okay, so we just want to have a nursing student give a feedback concerning this webinar. So if you are a nursing student, and we just need one person, so you can please raise up your hand so that you can be called to speak for just 30 seconds. Is there anybody willing to give a feedback concerning this webinar? All right, so I have someone, Adejumo Christy, please go ahead. And before she talks, I would like to introduce her. She is a daughter to Professor Bayo and Priska Adejumo, and she's a nurse who is following the footsteps of our parents. We are glad to have you here, Ms. Christy Adejumo. Please go ahead and talk.
So happy to hear that.
Good evening, everybody. This has been a very insightful webinar. We've learned a lot. My classmates are also on board, and how much we gained from the little time. So we want to thank the organizers of this program so much, because we've learned a lot generally, and we look forward to gaining more things, milking and getting more experience. About things. Some of us are just entering. We don't know exactly what steps to go about it, but we know that with the right mentorship, there's nothing we cannot achieve. The sky is not even a limit. So we say a very big thank you to the organizers of this webinar, and we very much.
All right, thank you, Miss Christy Adejumo. We are so glad to have you here. Okay, so we have come to the end of the interview session. It's been a great moment with Professor Bayo Adejumo and Mr. Israel Akiade, all the way from Canada. All right, thank you for this privilege. I appreciate everyone who stayed behind till this moment. We love you. Thank you so much. So over to Ms. Fadodun Damilola. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow is all I can say. Thank you so much, our uncle, Ms. Ruth Ololade. Thank you very much. And thank you so much to our guest, Professor Adebayo Adejumo and Mr. Israel Akiade, all the way from Canada. Thank you so much for that insightful interview. We really appreciate the guest. We are so thankful. I want to also thank our participants for staying till this time. Wow. A round of applause for us, please. I'm clapping here. A round of applause. Thank you so much for staying behind till this time. We really appreciate your time invested. And I'm going to move to... And I also want to thank, before that, I also want to thank Professor Priska Adejumo also for doing justice to some of the questions. Thank you very much, Ma. We are honored to have you on this platform. Thank you very much. In absentia, I'm going to also be appreciating on behalf of FYNI, the registrar, Dr. Umar Faruku. We appreciate you, sir, for taking out your time to be on this platform with us. Thank you very much. We'll be giving some announcements. We know everybody is hungry. We are thirsty for what is next. So first of all, we have a follow watch party. So we're not just going to end this webinar and everybody's just going to go their ways. No, we have a follow watch party on ground to follow up, and to this effect we'll be having this webinar every 28th every month. That's 28th day of every month. So we should fingers crossed, keep our fingers crossed for the next webinar coming up 28th of October. That will be the second webinar. In all, we are going to be having 9 webinars to be able to fully address this mentorship gap in nursing, especially between the older and the younger generation. So every 28th, we should anticipate a webinar. We'll send out the links. Some of us are already on the WhatsApp platform, so just keep your fingers crossed for any information as it relates to opportunities, volunteer opportunities with the organization. Secondly, we have a need assessment survey coming up, and the essence of this need assessment survey is to ensure that we get a feedback from the audience, we get a feedback from the general nursing populace before we begin to introduce the programs that we are planning on ground as it relates to mentorship. By doing this, we know we'll be able to have need specific interventions as it relates to mentorship. So to this effect, we are announcing that very soon you would find us sending out links for individuals or people to participate in this need assessment survey. We already have ethics on ground, ethical approval on ground, and we have ethical we've already applied to ethics to ensure that we are able to successfully get this done in order for us to have a need specific intervention and be able to document this on paper. So please, fingers crossed, we are going to be asking us to participate in this mini research just to make sure that we are giving the right program or the right intervention to the right demand, to the right problems on ground as it relates to mentorship in nursing. So rather than just put programs on us, we want to hear from the young nurses. We want to know the minds of the young nurses. We want to even see if the plans we have on ground we even be able to meet the needs of the younger generation at this time. So like I said, there are more webinars to come. Let us keep our eyes open, our fingers crossed, and we have our social media platform. So for instance, you want to reach out to FYNI, please, I'll be announcing our social media platforms for us to be able to actively interact with us. So we have our Twitter our Twitter handle is FYNI_official. We have our Instagram handle FYN_initiative. Our LinkedIn, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn on FYN_initiative, and on Facebook, we are also on Facebook, so you can reach out to us on Facebook at FYNI official. That is focusing on Young Nurses Initiative. That's the full meaning of FYNI. I would repeat it again. Our Twitter handle is FYNI_official. Our Instagram handle is FYN FYN_initiative. Our LinkedIn handle is LinkedIn. You can reach out to us on LinkedIn through FYN_initiative, and Facebook. We're also on Facebook. Yes, we're on Facebook, FYNI official. Our organizational email is FYNI. Organizational website rather is fyni.org. So www.fyni.org. So you can reach out to us on this platform, and we will be more than happy, to take down your comments, your feedbacks, your observation, your needs. And please, like I said earlier, let us keep our fingers crossed and our eyes open for our need assessment survey coming soon. On behalf of FYNI, I want to sincerely appreciate everybody for staying back till this time. You are the real VIP, MVP, whatsoever you want to call it, and you deserve a round of applause once again. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I don't know if we have any other announcement, but please look out for such on our social media handles. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that is the end of the webinar for today. Till 28th next month, 28th of October 2021, where we'll have another exciting time with exciting guests. Till then, God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Fantastic. You did a good job, and that is Mr. Palodon, who we did not introduce. She is, but she did not. So, Olu Adamilola.
What did I? She is also.